Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is the show where we sift through stacks of sources, could be articles, research, notes, you name it, and we pull out the key insights, the really practical stuff, and tailor it just for you.
That's right.
And today, we're diving into something I think almost every single English learner bumps up against at some point. It's that feeling, right? You know a word, you see it, you hear it, perfect understanding, but then you're talking mid-conversation and poof, it's gone. Just vanishes.
Oh, yeah. The tip of the tongue phenomenon. It's
Yeah.
incredibly common.
Exactly. It's sitting right there so stubbornly, just out of reach.
Hmm.
And we've all felt it. It's more than just, a minor irritation.
Definitely.
This kind of mental block, it can genuinely get in the way of smooth communication, makes you feel maybe less fluent than you are. And I think this is key. It can really start to chip away at your confidence. Suddenly, speaking English feels like this huge effort.
It becomes stressful, yeah. Which ironically makes recall even harder.
Precisely. So, what's our mission today? Well, we're tackling that specific frustration. We've gathered some really practical, actionable strategies, things you can actually do.
Yeah.
The goal is to help you not just learn words, but to actually recall them faster when you need them, to speak more smoothly, and honestly, to have more fun with English conversations.
That's important, too. It shouldn't feel like a constant test.
Right. Think of this as like your personalized toolkit. A shortcut to feeling genuinely informed and, confident when you speak English. It's all custom tailored for you, focusing on things you can start using like today.
And what's really crucial to get, I think, is just how widespread this specific problem is. It's fascinating, actually. This isn't just something beginners struggle with.
Oh, really?
No, not at all. I mean, you see learners who are quite advanced, reading complex stuff, understanding really nuanced debates.
Yeah.
And they still find themselves in spontaneous conversation, just grasping for that perfect word. It just eludes them for a second.
Huh. So it's not necessarily about overall level then?
Not entirely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the strategies we're about to talk about, they're more than just simple tips.
Yeah.
They represent fundamentally shifts in how our brains actually engage with and process language. So by adopting these approaches, you're not just like stuffing more words into your head.
Right.
You're actually optimizing your cognitive load.
Right.
You're making your brain's job easier when it comes to speaking English, making it more efficient, boosting that real-time recall.
Okay. Optimizing cognitive load. I like that framing.
It really highlights the difference, doesn't it? Moving beyond just passive knowledge, knowing the word exists, to active, spontaneous use. Because at the end of the day, effective communication, it's about using the words when it counts, right there in the moment.
That's a really powerful way to put it. Passive knowledge versus active use. Building that bridge, maybe, so the words flow without those frustrating detours.
Exactly. No more road love.
All right, so let's get into these strategies. We're going to start with some things that might feel a bit internal, sort of subtle shifts in how you think. But trust me, our sources suggest these are incredibly powerful.
It's foundational, really.
Yeah, foundational. This is where we kind of uncover the deeper mechanics, the stuff that can genuinely transform your speaking experience. Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
Our first big strategy, think in English. Now, I can almost hear some people thinking, well, obviously, but how?
Right. It sounds easy, but the how is the tricky part.
Exactly. But the core idea, and this comes through really strongly in our sources, is that constantly translating from your native language,
Yeah.
that's a major slowdown.
It really is a bottleneck.
Yeah. Your
Yeah.
brain is doing this complex, multi-step thing, right? First, you form the thought in, say, Spanish or French or Japanese. Then you have to do this live translation into English in your head. Then you try to speak it.
It's a lot of mental juggling.
It is. It's like trying to run, 2 heavy software programs at the same time on an old computer. It slows everything down.
Inevitably.
But if you can train your brain, consciously at first, to actually form the thoughts directly in English, you cut out that entire middle translation step.
Boom. Streamlined.
Exactly. You reduce the processing load dramatically, and the words they come faster because there's a direct path, no detour.
A mental express lane.
I like that. A mental express. Okay, so how do you actually do this? How do you build that habit?
Yeah, the practical application.
Our source suggests starting really, really simple. You don't need to compose like Shakespearean sonnets in your head.
Definitely not.
It's more about narrating your immediate world, your actions.
Huh?
So you look out the window, you see the sun shining. Instead of thinking in your first language, oh, the sun is bright today, and then translating.
You just think.
You just think, the sun is bright. Or you pick up your coffee mug. Think, this is my mug, it's warm.
Little things. Mundane things.
Totally mundane things. But this constant sort of internal chatter in English,
Mhm.
it starts forging a direct link, a neural connection between the thing, the concept, and the English word for it.
Bypassing the old pathways.
Right. It's like, building a new road. And the
Yeah.
more you use that direct English-only road, the wider and smoother it gets. Thoughts and words travel faster.
Makes sense. Repetition builds the habit.
It's a small daily thing, like a mental workout,
Yeah.
but it genuinely starts to rewire your brain for more spontaneous speech,
Yeah.
building that muscle memory for thinking directly in English.
And this brings up a really important question, I think. Why is thinking directly in English so powerful? It's more than just cutting out a step.
Okay, yeah, tell me more.
What's really insightful, I find, is that it changes how your brain fundamentally maps concepts.
Right.
See, when you translate, you're essentially building a bridge between your native language's concept word network
Right.
and the English word. It's still kind of routing through your primary language system.
Ah,
But when you think in English, you're forcing your brain to create direct pathways between the concept itself, like the actual idea of brightness, and the English word bright. No detour through Spanish or Mandarin or whatever.
direct line.
A direct line. It creates a much stronger, less sort of interference-prone connection. There's actually neuroimaging research that shows reduced cognitive load in the brain areas involved in language switching when people consistently practice this direct thinking.
Wow, really? You can see it.
Yeah, it suggests a more integrated, efficient processing system is being built.
That's fascinating. So it's literally making the brain work less hard.
Exactly.
Ah.
Huge cognitive efficiency gains. Your brain doesn't have to do that extra calculation for every single thought you want to express.
Yeah.
It's like having that dedicated express lane, as you said, instead of constantly merging through a busy translation roundabout.
Love the analogies.
And the implications, they go way beyond just speed. It's not just about talking faster.
Ah.
It's about developing a much more intuitive, almost native-like feel for English. Sentence structures, common phrases, collocations, words that just naturally sound right together.
You start to internalize the patterns.
Precisely. You absorb the rhythm, the feel of the language.
Yeah.
You build fluency from the inside out. So for you listening, as you try this, pay attention to how it feels. It might feel a bit clunky or effortful at first. That's normal. There might be some mental friction.
Sure.
But stick with it. Because the long-term payoff in fluidity, in confidence, as your brain adapts and makes English thought the default, it's absolutely huge.
That's a really compelling case for it. Not just cutting a step, but actually rewiring the map, building that express lane. Great. And speaking of keeping things moving, keeping them streamlined, our second tip fits right in here. Use simple words.
Ah, yes, a very practical one.
Super practical, and honestly, a massive relief for anyone who feels this pressure to always use the most sophisticated word they know.
Which can be paralyzing.
Totally. So the core idea is, if you forget a specific or difficult word, and let's be real, it happens to everyone, native speakers included,
All the time.
that frustrating tip of the tongue moment, the advice is clear. Don't stop talking. Don't freeze up.
Keep the momentum.
Yes. Instead, just find a simpler, more direct way to say what you mean. The main goal always is to keep the conversation flowing and protect your confidence.
Communication first.
Exactly. And our sources have some great, really clear examples. Say you're describing a fantastic meal, but the word delicious just evaporates.
Happens.
Instead of just halting and going, pivot, just say, very tasty. Everyone gets it. The message is delivered.
Simple, effective.
Or you're trying to describe something huge, massive, but colossal or enormous won't come. Just say very big or really large.
Perfect. Job done.
The flow isn't broken, you've communicated. This tip is all about prioritizing getting your meaning across over some kind of ideal linguistic perfection.
Which often doesn't even exist, really.
Good point. It's a graceful way out, an effective strategy for when a word temporarily ghosts you. Lets you bridge that gap easily and keep going without feeling flustered or, embarrassed.
Yeah. We've all felt that little spike of panic when a word disappears. This gives you a tool.
It really does. A confidence booster.
And what's powerful here, I think, is how it directly tackles that psychological barrier.
Okay. The fear factor.
Exactly. The fear of pausing too long, the fear of making a mistake, the fear of sounding like you don't know the word.
Yeah.
For so many learners, that fear is incredibly strong. It can make them clam up, avoid speaking opportunities altogether.
Sure. Avoidance is easier sometimes.
But by encouraging simple, accessible words as a backup, This strategy instantly lowers that pressure. It gives you permission to keep going.
Right.
And, crucially, it maintains your confidence. Because successfully navigating that forgotten word, even with a simpler substitute, that's a small win.
Yeah, it is. You kept going.
Right? It tells your brain, hey, I can communicate effectively even with these little bumps. Your value isn't tied to using fancy words.
That's a freeing thought.
It really is. And the wider implication here is that this fosters a growth mindset, doesn't it? Rather than a rigid perfectionist mindset.
Explain that a bit more.
Well, a perfectionist mindset says, I must use the perfect word or I've failed. A growth mindset says, okay, that word isn't coming. How else can I express this? Let's find a way.
Adaptability.
Exactly. It highlights the fundamental truth. Communication is about conveying meaning, connecting with people, not just showing off vocabulary. Being understood is the goal.
Makes total sense.
And this brings up an interesting point for you, the listener, to maybe think about. How can practicing this skill, paraphrasing, explaining things simply, how can that not only help when you forget a word, but actually expand your entire communication toolkit? It makes you more adaptable, more resourceful. Even native speakers benefit hugely from being good paraphrasers. It promotes clarity, flexibility. It's a universally useful skill.
That's brilliant. It's not just a crutch. It's actually building a different, valuable communication muscle. Flexibility, adaptability. I love it. Okay, so we've talked about internal shifts. Thinking in English, simplifying when needed. Now let's move towards more active, outward engagement with the language.
Getting hands-on.
Yeah, really interacting with English in dynamic ways. Our third tip is super direct. Maybe obvious, but essential. Speak every day.
Non-negotiable, really, for fluency.
Absolutely. The single best, most proven way to make words stick, to really internalize them, isn't just studying lists, it's using them actively.
Output practice.
Exactly. Sounds simple, I know, but the power of doing it consistently, daily, it's huge. And our sources offer some great practical ways to make this happen, even if you think, but I have no one to talk to.
That's a common hurdle.
It is, obviously. Talking to a friend, a language partner, a tutor, fantastic if you can, but if not, no problem. Seriously, you can talk to yourself.
Yep, nothing wrong with that.
Or record your voice on your phone, listen back later if you want, or don't. Just the act of speaking matters.
Removes the pressure.
Totally. And one specific suggestion from the source, which I just love for its simplicity, if you don't have anyone else, stand in front of a mirror. Just for 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Everyone has 2 minutes.
Right. Pick a simple topic.
Well,
What did I do today? What am I having for lunch? My plans for the weekend? Anything. The key is just speak. Slowly, clearly maybe. Focus on getting the English words out.
articulating.
Yeah. I've done this myself. Feels weird for like the first 30 seconds, then it's fine. It gets your mouth, your tongue, your brain used to forming English sentences in real time.
Builds that physical connection, too.
It does, and the link is so direct. The more you speak, even just these short bursts to yourself, the better you remember words, the easier they'll pop into your head in real conversations. Make it a tiny, non-negotiable daily habit. 120 seconds. That consistent output cements vocabulary like nothing else.
And if we connect that to the learning science, this is all about active recall and output practice.
Say more about that.
Well, when you actively produce language, when you speak, you're not just passively receiving info. You are forcing your brain to go into its memory banks.
Right.
Retrieve the words, retrieve the grammar rules, organize them into sentences, and then coordinate your mouth and throat to actually say them.
Wow. Yeah, that's a complex process when you break it down.
It is. And that entire process actively strengthens the neural pathways for those words and structures.
Yeah.
Think of it like every time you use a word, you're paving that mental road a little bit smoother, making it faster for next time.
So speaking literally builds the infrastructure for future speaking.
Precisely. And self-talk, like you mentioned, is so potent because it's a zero-pressure zone.
Totally. No judgment.
Right. No fear of mistakes. So you can experiment freely, try out new words, new phrases. You get immediate internal feedback. You hear yourself. You can adjust. And it builds that crucial muscle memory, not just physically in your mouth, but mentally in how your brain assembles sentences on the fly. So the big takeaway here, consistency trumps intensity. Short, daily bursts of speaking are way more effective for long-term recall and fluency than cramming once a week. Continuous activation, keeping your English alive.
Continuous activation. I like that. Making English a living part of your daily mental routine.
Okay, and building right on that idea of using words actively. Our fourth tip tackles a common pitfall, Learn words and sentences.
Ah, context is king.
Exactly. The idea here is simple but really important. Don't just memorize words floating alone in space. That's like, I don't know, collecting individual Lego bricks but having no idea how they click together.
Good analogy. They don't mean much on their own.
Right. Learn how words are actually used within a sentence, because that's where they get their full meaning, their grammatical function, their natural rhythm, in context.
Absolutely.
Our sources draw this clear contrast. If you just learn beautiful, okay, fine, but what's beautiful? How do you use it? Does it come before the noun? After? Instead?
Learn a phrase like.
Learn a sentence like, the sky is beautiful today. Instantly, you get so much more.
Right. You see how it works? Yeah. You see, beautiful is an adjective. You see the common structure. The noun is adjective. You see it describes sky. You absorb the grammar naturally.
And the typical usage.
Exactly. And when you start remembering whole sentences, or even common phrases, linguists call them chunks, right?
Yeah, lexical chunks.
Speaking gets so much easier, so much more natural, because you're not painfully building sentences one word at a time from scratch.
Which is incredibly draining mentally.
Totally.
Yeah.
Instead, you're recalling these pre-made chunks of language. The sky is beautiful. How are you doing? Could you tell me? You just slot them into your conversation.
Reduces the cognitive load massively.
Right. Allows your speech to flow much more smoothly, much more confidently.
And this taps directly into that idea of chunking information. Our brains are just wired for it.
How so?
We naturally process information in meaningful units, not isolated bits. Think about remembering a phone number. You don't remember 12 random digits, right?
No, you group them, like 555, 123, 4567.
Exactly. You chunk it. Learning words and sentences or phrases does the same thing for language. You're bundling the word with its grammatical context and common partners.
Creating meaningful units.
Precisely. Which is fantastic for fluency because it bypasses that slow, laborious word-by-word construction. You recall and deploy larger pre-assembled units. Smoother, faster, more native-like speech.
It's like having prefabricated parts instead of raw materials.
Good way to put it. And this raises another important point. Learning words and sentences implicitly teaches you grammar and natural collocations without you even realizing it.
Ah, okay, so you don't need to drill grammar rules separately as much.
Well, it complements it beautifully. When you learn the sky is beautiful today, you're not just getting beautiful, you're absorbing that sky often uses that is the verb, that today works there. You're seeing how English works in action.
You internalize the patterns through examples.
Exactly. It's holistic.
Yeah.
You get vocabulary, grammar, natural word pairings, collocations, all bundled together. It's a much more intuitive, brain-friendly way to build real fluency compared to just memorizing isolated words and abstract rules.
It really sounds much more efficient. Like getting a bundle deal on learning. Word plus context plus grammar. Great. And speaking of efficient tools, our next tip is a real classic for a reason. Use flashcards.
Ah, the trusty flashcard.
Yeah.
Still effective.
Totally. Might seem a bit old school, but our sources really back this up as simple, effective, especially for new word recall.
Tried and tested.
And the method described is super straightforward. Get some small cards, English word on one side, on the other side, maybe the meaning in your language, or even better, draw a quick picture representing the word, or write a short example sentence using it.
Context again.
Exactly. And then this is the absolute key, consistency. Just review them every day for maybe 5 minutes.
5 minutes, that's it.
That's it. It's not about hours of painful cramming that just leads to burnout. It's about this small, manageable, consistent habit, but the results over time. Huge.
Compound effect.
Totally. This little habit helps you not just encounter new words, but really lock them into your long-term memory. That consistent short burst of practice, maybe the visual element, the physical act of handling the cards, it all helps reinforce those memory pathways.
And this ties directly into really well-established memory science principles, spaced repetition and active recall.
Okay, break those down for us. Spaced repetition.
Spaced repetition means reviewing the information just as your brain's about to forget it. Not too soon, not too late. So maybe review a new word 5 minutes after learning it, then an hour, then a day, then 3 days, etc. The intervals get longer.
Ah, okay, so you're interrupting the forgetting process.
Precisely. And each time you review, you're doing active recall. You're actively pulling the information out of your memory, not just passively rereading it.
Like testing yourself.
Exactly. And that active retrieval effort is what physically strengthens the neural connection, makes the memory stronger and easier to access next time. It's like carving a deeper groove.
That makes so much sense why flashcards work then. You're constantly testing yourself at the right intervals.
Right. And the implications go beyond just basic memorization. Customization is huge here.
How so?
Add example sentences, like you said. Add synonyms, maybe antonyms. Draw that picture. Add a personal connection or story related to the word.
Make it meaningful to you.
Yes. The more layers of meaning and connection you add, the more hooks your brain has to retrieve that memory. And modern apps like Enki basically automate this spaced repetition scheduling for you.
Oh, cool. Tech meets old school.
Yeah. And importantly, use them for production too.
Yeah.
Look at the definition or picture and try to say or write the English word. That's a much tougher, better test of active recall than just recognizing the word. Trains you for actual speaking. It's a surprisingly versatile tool.
It really is. Simple, but scientifically sound. Love it. Okay, moving from active study tools to something more passive but equally important. Our sixth tip is about immersion. Watch and listen in English.
Soaking it in.
Exactly. The core idea is beautifully simple. Your brain learns faster, more naturally, when it's just consistently exposed to English every day. This isn't about intense study necessarily. It's about weaving English into the fabric of your daily life.
Making it part of your environment.
Precisely. Turning everyday activities into learning moments. Our sources give great examples. Watch English videos. And hey, subtitles are totally fine, especially at first. English subtitles can be great.
Good scaffold.
Listen to English podcasts, maybe like this one. Or put on English music while you're cooking or driving.
Passive exposure adds up.
It really does. The mechanism is simple. When you hear the same words, phrases, sentence structures over and over again in different natural contexts, your brain just starts to absorb them. It recognizes patterns.
Almost unconsciously.
Yeah. It's like this constant, gentle reinforcement. Slowly but surely, the language seeps in. And this makes speaking easier down the line because those words and phrases become familiar. They feel almost second nature. They just surface more readily when you need them.
Reduces the foreignness.
Exactly. And the best part, you can make it enjoyable. Find stuff you genuinely like. A genre of TV show you love, music you enjoy, podcasts on hobbies you have.
Crucial for consistency.
Totally. If it feels like fun, not a chore, you'll do it more. You'll boost your vocabulary, your listening comprehension, your feel for the rhythm of English, without even feeling like you're studying.
And connecting this to the bigger picture again, this is essentially natural language acquisition through what linguists call comprehensible input.
Okay, comprehensible input. What's that?
It's a key theory from Stephen Krashen. Basically, we acquire language best when we're exposed to input listening or reading that's just slightly beyond our current level.
I+1, they sometimes call it.
Exactly. Challenging enough to learn something new, but understandable enough that you can follow the main gist. Watching and listening daily provides this constant stream of rich, varied, often comprehensible input.
Makes sense. You're constantly encountering new things in context.
Right, and repetition within that input is key. Hearing words and structures repeated naturally helps your brain internalize them. Vocabulary, pronunciation, grammar patterns, without conscious memorization. You just absorb it.
Like how kids learn their first language.
Very similar process, yes. And this raises that question about subtitles again. How do they help? They act as a powerful scaffold.
Okay.
When you hear a word and see it written simultaneously, it creates a stronger multimodal memory trace. Sound plus spelling plus meaning all linked together.
Reinforces it from different angles.
Exactly. So the big takeaways here are consistency, obviously, but also finding content that genuinely interests you. Engagement is the fuel for sustained learning through immersion. If you're bored, you tune out. If you're captivated, your brain stays open and keeps learning almost effortlessly. Makes those words much stickier for when you need to speak.
Sustained engagement is the magic ingredient then, turning learning into just living life in English more.
Right. Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Our next set of strategies really zeroes in on solidifying what you learn, making sure it sticks, and also tackling that mental game, what to do when you feel stuck.
Reinforcement and mindset.
Crucial.
Definitely. So tip number 7 is about active reinforcement. Repeat and use new words. It's not enough to just passively see or hear a new word. To make it truly yours, you gotta use it.
Put it into action.
Exactly. Our sources suggest a really specific, potent method. When you learn a new word, don't just read it. Say it out loud, clearly, like 5 times.
Get the feel of it.
Yeah, get your mouth around it, hear the sound, but then, and this is the critical next step, immediately try to use it in different sentences. Vary the context.
Don't just repeat the same sentence.
Right. Let's take an example. You learn the word exciting. Don't just chant, exciting, exciting, exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Follow up immediately with sentences. Like, this movie's exciting. My trip next week feels really exciting. Finding new ways to learn English is actually quite exciting.
Different scenarios, different subjects.
Exactly. Using it in these varied ways forces your brain to build multiple strong connections to that word, linking it to different ideas, feelings, situations.
Builds a richer network for the word.
Precisely.
Right.
The source even says this helps your brain remember the word forever. Maybe a bit strong, but the point is clear. It's about transforming that passive knowledge, I know what exciting means, into active, usable vocabulary, the kind that just flows out naturally when you speak, making the word yours.
And what's really powerful there is the emphasis on active production and varied context. It's not just rote repetition, it's meaningful repetition.
Right.
Using the word in different scenarios builds a much deeper, more nuanced understanding. You learn its typical partners, its connotations, how it really works in communication. This multi-context practice strengthens those neural links far more than just repeating a definition.
Makes the memory more robust.
Exponentially so.
Yes.
Every time you successfully retrieve and use that word in a new context, you're deepening that mental groove, making it easier to access next time, under pressure.
Okay.
And the implication is huge. This is how you move beyond simple recognition to true integration. The word becomes part of your active, ready-to-go vocabulary.
Not just sitting in storage somewhere.
Exactly. It's available for spontaneous use. It feels natural. And as a bonus, this practice helps you instinctively grasp the subtle differences between similar words because you've actually used them in different situations. That's a hallmark of real fluency.
Building that whole resilient network around each word makes it truly sticky.
Excellent. Okay, now for tip 8, we address that critical moment, the feeling of panic when a word just won't come. Stay calm.
Easier said than done sometimes, but crucial.
So crucial. This tackles the emotional side. Don't panic if you forget a word. It happens. It's normal. Even native speakers blank sometimes. First step, take a breath. A deep, calming breath.
Interrupt the panic cycle.
Yes. And instead of just stopping dead, breaking the flow, making things awkward, find another way. Any other way to explain what you mean.
Circumlocution again.
Exactly. I remember trying to explain, what was it? Oh, a protractor in school once. Total blank.
Yeah.
Ended up drawing a semicircle in the air. Got there eventually, but felt that flush and panic first.
We've all been there.
Our source gives a great example. Forget the word umbrella. Don't freeze. Just say, that thing. We use it when it rains. Keeps you dry.
Perfect. Message clear. Conversation moves on. Exactly. And the core message here, which I think can be incredibly freeing for learners, is speaking English isn't about perfection. It's about communication, getting your idea across.
That's the bottom line.
This tip directly lowers that internal pressure cooker, refocuses you on the real goal, connecting with people. It normalizes those momentary memory lapses and encourages resilience, creative problem solving on the fly, navigating those moments gracefully.
And this brings up that critical point again, how stress and panic actually affect recall.
Right, what's happening in the brain?
When you panic, your body goes into fight or flight. It releases cortisol, the stress hormone, and high cortisol levels can actually hinder access to your prefrontal cortex, the part involved in higher reasoning, and importantly, memory retrieval.
So panic literally blocks your access to words.
It can, yes. It constricts those pathways.
Yeah.
So consciously choosing to stay calm, taking that breath, telling yourself it's okay, it signals to your brain that it's safe. It keeps those memory pathways open.
Wow. So calming down isn't just psychological, it's physiological.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it enables that skill of circumlocution, talking around the word, which again is not a sign of weakness. It's a vital communication strategy.
It's a strength.
Definitely. Native speakers do it all the time. Oh, what's that thingamajig? The implication. You build resilience. You build real-time problem-solving skills. It shifts the focus from, I failed, I forgot, to, how can I communicate this creatively? Keeps the conversation alive. That's effective speaking.
Absolutely. Turning a potential failure into a creative communication moment. Love that. Okay, tip number 9 brings in another sense, another way to reinforce words. Write more.
Engaging a different modality.
Exactly. The idea is simple. The act of writing things down helps you remember words better, often because it's slower, more deliberate than speaking, more structured.
Forces precision.
Yeah. Our source suggests a really lovely, simple daily habit. Keep a small notebook, maybe a digital note just for English, and write one sentence every day.
Just one.
Just one. Doesn't need to be War and Peace. Write about your day, how you're feeling, your plan for dinner, anything. The key is the act of writing it.
Putting thoughts into written form.
Yes. That conscious process of recalling words, thinking about grammar, arranging them into a coherent thought on paper or screen, it's incredibly powerful reinforcement. The direct benefit, the source says, is that writing makes it easier to find words when you speak.
Interesting connection. How does that work?
I think it's about engaging different senses, different motor skills. Physical act of writing, seeing the words, it helps consolidate them in your long-term memory from another angle, a multisensory approach.
Makes sense. And connecting that to the bigger picture, writing definitely engages different brain areas than speaking or listening.
Okay.
Speaking is often fast, spontaneous, less worried about perfect grammar, maybe.
Mm.
Listening is receptive.
Mm.
Writing, though, it's slower, more deliberate, more reflective.
You have time to think.
Exactly. That pace allows for more conscious activation of vocabulary, more precise application of grammar. It forces you to think about word choice, structure, clarity in a way spontaneous speech might not. You can craft it.
Mm-hmm. Edit yourself.
Right. And that's the key implication. Writing allows for conscious reflection and, crucially, self-correction. You have time to look up a word, check spelling, rephrase for impact.
Lower pressure environment.
Exactly. And this active construction of accurate, meaningful text feeds directly back into your spoken fluency. It solidifies your knowledge, makes your understanding of how words work more precise, more robust.
Which should reduce those tip-of-the-tongue moments later.
Significantly.
Yeah.
Because you've already rehearsed and refined those words, those structures, in that quieter, more deliberate writing space. It's foundational practice that strengthens the whole system, written and spoken, creates a powerful feedback loop.
That's a great way to think about it. Quiet rehearsal, strengthening your live performance. Okay, final tip. Number 10. And this one taps into something really fundamental about how our brains work. Connect words with images.
Leveraging our visual processing power.
Totally. The core idea. Your brain remembers pictures much, much better than abstract words alone. We're incredibly visual creatures. Tapping into that visual memory system can give your word recall a massive boost.
Making words more concrete.
Exactly. And the method is wonderfully simple. You can do it anywhere, anytime, no special equipment needed. Just look at an object around you, anything, and say its name in English.
Simple observation.
Yeah. See an apple, look at it, really see it and say apple, out loud or just in your head. See a chair, look, connect, say chair.
Direct association.
That direct sensory link, the physical object, the visual image, and the English word creates a really strong, vivid, multisensory memory trace. The benefit. Your brain learns words faster this way. You're using its natural strength in processing and recalling visual info. You basically turn your environment into this interactive learning zone, building direct links, no translation needed.
And what's fascinating here is the principle of dual coding theory.
Okay, tell me about dual coding.
It's a theory suggesting our brains process information via two main channels, a verbal channel for words, and a nonverbal or imagistic channel for images, sounds, sensations.
Two separate systems.
Separate but interconnected. And when you encode information using both channels, like linking the word apple, verbal, with a mental image of an apple, imagistic, you create stronger, more redundant memory traces.
Redundant, like backups.
Exactly. Think of it like having two different filing cabinets for that memory. One labeled words, one labeled pictures, if you file Apple in both.
You have two ways to find it.
Precisely. If one pathway is temporarily blocked or foggy, maybe under the stress of speaking, the other pathway might still be clear and accessible. That redundancy makes recall much more reliable, like having a spare key for your memory.
That's incredibly powerful, doubling your chances of remembering.
It really is, and the implications for learning vocabulary are massive. It encourages a multimodal approach. Go beyond just text. Use flashcards with pictures. Label stuff around your house. Visualize the word's meaning.
Make it visual.
Make it visual. Those visual associations act as powerful anchors, making the word much easier to retrieve when you need it. It taps into a really fundamental, efficient way our brains are designed to learn and remember. Makes retention much more intuitive and lasting.
Wow. Okay, so that's 10 strategies. Let's pull it all together. So what does this all mean for you listening right now? We've just gone through a deep dive, haven't we? 10 really practical, often surprisingly simple ways to boost your English vocabulary recall, and maybe just as importantly, to really supercharge your confidence when you speak.
A real toolkit.
It is. From thinking directly in English, using simple words when needed, all the way through speaking daily, learning in sentences, using flashcards, immersion, repeating and using words actively, staying calm, writing more, and connecting words to images. These aren't just, random tricks.
No, they're integrated habits and mindset shifts.
Exactly. And when you apply them consistently, they can genuinely transform your whole experience of speaking English.
It's about making it less effortful, more joyful.
Yes. So I really encourage you, pick one or two, whichever one's resonated most right now, or maybe just feel the easiest to start with, and commit. Try them consistently. You don't need to do all 10 tomorrow.
Start small. Build momentum.
Precisely. You've got this custom-tailored set of strategies now, pulled straight from our sources, ready to put into practice. This deep dive has hopefully armed you with real tools to get those words flowing and that confidence soaring.
And maybe this raises one final question for reflection. Beyond just remembering the words themselves, how do these 10 tips taken together actually foster a more resilient, adaptable, maybe even joyful approach to learning language overall?
That's interesting. Beyond just vocabulary.
Yeah, because by integrating these different strategies, you're not just filling a word bank. You're building a more positive, proactive mindset towards communication itself.
How so?
You're learning to accept imperfection as normal, to be creative when you get stuck,
Yeah.
to keep engaging with the language in meaningful, varied ways. It's a holistic shift, really. Benefits your whole journey.
That's a great point. It's building a better relationship with the learning process itself.
Exactly. So here's a final provocative thought for you to chew on. If these small, consistent efforts applied across thinking, speaking, listening, writing, visualizing, if they can unlock your fluency for words, what other areas of your learning, maybe even other parts of your life, could benefit from a similar approach? That patient, multifaceted, consistent engagement.
Applying these principles more broadly.
The ideas of consistent practice, active recall, growth mindset, leveraging how your brain works, they're pretty universal keys, aren't they, for unlocking potential just about anywhere.
That is a really powerful thought to end on. Thank you. And thank you for joining us on this deep dive into mastering English vocabulary. We really hope these insights help you speak with more confidence, more ease, and more spontaneous joy.
Take them and use them.
Absolutely. Reflect on them, but most importantly, start applying them. Keep that curiosity alive. Keep exploring. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.